doing the routine, being boring, getting my warm up on the spin bike, do a little kettlebells, and then off to do a 60-minute chug. I woke up again like 1 or 2 in the morning. Thankfully got some sleep before I headed out here for the morning workout. This morning, instead of doing a workout, decided to go and try and figure out how to do live stuff on YouTube and Facebook. Don't really like the live, not really sure. It's just kind of the pressure in my head, even though these things, as you guys obviously know, I don't edit them, but I just kind of shoot them. Very rarely throw away or anything, as you guys also know, so thank you for putting up with my not editing and stuff. But I did a video, and it's almost kind of like getting in reps, like Joe Rogan says about doing your comedy set, that you need to keep doing it and refining it. So oftentimes when I do, especially when I find articles and I do them, they don't really come out the way I want because I'm kind of going off the source material. This was an outside magazine. And so after I do the show, I kind of like to rehash it in my head. And so this one was basically, about professional running, especially as it is here in the United States. And he was talking about, what does it take to be a professional runner in terms of you don't have, hello, and some of my local lady runners, walkers. So it was talking about, obviously like the East Africans come here and they win a race and that money goes a long way in their countries. But in the States, they 100 grand, which very few people make, maybe Galen Rupp and a few other people. But most guys and gals make their money, shoe companies, but they're not pulling in, the money of the big time sports, definitely. So it's kind of, the article was talking about what do you, is what's more important, your performances on the track and the roads or your social media presence. And I would say, and they were saying that, like the Brooks guy said, oh, well, we still look at the performances on the track and then the social media is a nice component. Whereas Mev Kofletsky's brother, who's been a sports agent for many years, says, he looks for both, but the social media presence is far more important. And I, as a business owner throughout the years, totally understand that you, just because you win a race, if you show up, you're laser focused, win the race, and then go home, how are you selling and moving my product? How are you, it's like just not the case. And then there's tons of social media people in the sport who make people excited and want to do it and go to races, buy the products, and do all that. So as if I was one of these shoe companies, I would definitely be hiring those people. Yeah, it's great to have the record holders and the champs, but I don't think a lot of people get motivated to get off the couch and get into our sport because they see somebody win a race. They look at it and go, wow, that's cool. But they'd rather see people who look like them and are them, mothers and fathers, people who have jobs and kids and still get out and get it done and inspire people in that way. So the article was talking about Drody. He looks like a metalhead. 2016, he showed up at the Olympic trials and he had a mustache and a mullet. And everybody's like, who is that amongst all these other people? But even him, he ended up running under 2:10 at the Marathon Project this past December. And he ran in Asics, instead of the super shoe Nikes. And he still got dropped by his shoe company. And you're thinking, and this guy's funny as hell if you watch him on Twitter. And so you're thinking that guy's, he had to put in a great performance and he's got a personality. Sounds like he's got a sports agent, Josh Cox now, former 50K record holder, good runner himself. And so it sounds like he's going to get some sort of deal, but it's just so crazy. So I don't know why I'm kind of rambling on this, but my solution for American runners that they want, better sponsorships and stuff like that is, one, they need to create a union. They need to do this and so that they can have some power. And I know people hate the union word, but just sort of have a league or professional type of organization that people get accredited for. That's how, all the major sports got huge. I mean, back in the 70s, baseball players got paid peanuts because I used to follow the sport. And then finally Andy Messerschmidt and people like that broke free agency, and now, you know, all the sports make lots and lots of money, and people go, oh, I can't believe how much money these guys are making. And I'm like, hey, if, you know, they're making 200 million, how much are the people who own the teams making? How much are the networks making? I mean, the biggest cash cow just ended. One of the reasons I can't watch college sports anymore was March Madness. And, you know, all these young men, and very few of them are going to go to the pros. And, you know, CBS and everybody's just making tons and tons of money off of them. So one is the athletes themselves have to sort of, you know, unionize. I mean, Lance Armstrong talks about this in the Tour de France. Like the teams aren't worth anything because the race directors own the race. And so, like, if your team breaks up, it's not a franchise. There's nothing to sell except some bikes and some used buses. So it's kind of just, you've got to do that. And then also, if you just expand the market, people like myself and my wife, you know, not necessarily me, I've been at it since 79, but you get guys out there who never thought of doing it, and, you know, because you make races more inclusive. You know, yeah, some races have increased the, you know, finishing time, but I sweep a lot of races, and you get in, you know, say it's a 4-hour cutoff in a half marathon, which is very generous, but, you know, you're rolling in 3:30, and they're, you know, rolling up the finish line, there's no food, and you're basically just being super disrespectful to this person who paid money and came out to do your race, but is treated, you know, very poorly. And so you need to take care and grow the masses, people like me, and get them out and be healthy. And you need to hire elite athletes who love spending time with people like me and talking to me. I mean, I met Mev Kofletsky, and he's an amazing person. He'll talk to people and hang out, and just, you know, guys like Dean Karnassus. And another thing I think would really be helpful to grow the sport is to start having, you know, more walker-friendly races, and also have weight divisions in races. Right now, you know, you've got age groups, which is fine, but, you know, running is physics. And, you know, if you're not, like I was just talking to one guy, he's a 2:47 marathoner. We were talking in a clubhouse. Well, I know he's probably 5'10" and weighs 140 pounds. I got a client who I've been coaching for years, former Division I baseball player, 6 foot tall, 200 pounds, built like a Greek god. And there's no way he can break 3 hours. Just something that big can't move. But if you had like a 90 kilo race division, he would love it and compete against other big guys. You know, I've often said, let's just have like 10 kilogram weight divisions, 90, 100. I mean, like I'm at 110 kilogram. And we're not going to do crazy where you got to strip butt naked. You know, just have a scale, get on the scale before the race with your running shoes on, what you're racing, and just do it that way. I mean, I'd say it would just be fun to compete, or even not even get out awards, just have it kind of voluntary. And I've tried doing this, but I think that would grow the sport a lot when you could just give people more competitive opportunities and just to compete against themselves, and or even have separate little races for that. So just my 2 cents. I'll put it in the show notes, the article talking about what's more important, the social media or the performances. And I think it's a marriage of both, but you can't get away with just one or the other. So that's been Tuesday, April something 6th. Hoping this weekend I'm going to the Burroughs race, and I'm thinking about going and covering some other races. Tell me what you're doing this week, what your plans are. If you got any races coming, I'd love to hear about them. You can leave me direct messages on social medias or leave it in the comments. Well, the 60-minute chug was pretty slow, but then again, according to my Fitbit, I covered 18 miles yesterday. I did like 11K on the Strava in the morning, another 11K in the evening, and so pretty beat up. Did get some sleep. Had a really great clubhouse. Had keeping up with the kilometers on Clubhouse. Had 3 or 4 guys in there talking to a 2:47 marathoner and about training. You know, it's interesting. A lot of Canadians, so check it out if you're on Clubhouse. I think they're going to be soon opening it up for Android users, and just a good place to get in touch with a lot of people. In fact, I did my last half of my workout listening to and moderating club. So, heading home, hopefully a day of doing some poker and doing some work on the YouTube. Thank you guys all for the comments and the follows. Please subscribe if you can. And as always, stay healthy, be boring.